You want to come to an amen. That's how I know when the song is finished. There's an amen. Amen. Yes. Do you feel an amen? If you can't say amen, we got to keep working, you know?
I'm Terry Wallman, and this show is about creating a successful life and what that means to my guest today, Terron Brooks. First, I'd like to share my intention that inspires this podcast. Time passes quickly, and I've learned that we should do what's in our hearts and do it well, without apologies or excuses. I encourage you to create your life and art in your own unique way and express your artistry with joy and with abandon. Be willing to work uncompromisingly for what you believe in. Success will have a better chance of finding you when you live your life with integrity, focus, and passion. Be selfish with your discipline and selfless in your performance. And don't forget to have fun along the way. Terron Brooks, welcome to Making It.
Terry, thank you for having me. I am so thrilled to be here. Thrilled.
Me too. It's great to see you.
You too.
Your new album is called Open. Let's begin our conversation with the things that you have done so we can talk about the man that you have become being shaped by these experiences. And I'd like to set the tone of this conversation and dedicate this conversation by playing your opening song, Uncomfortable, just a little excerpt. Here we go.
I just assumed you were uncomfortable. I walked in the room and my heart went straight to you. Self-appointed, the anointed one. I always thought it was from God. My unconscious need was to be your savior. Oh, I never had permission to feel, so I was always trying to heal, 'cause it was easier to be happy instead of taking control. I now accept I don't know, and it's okay to be uncomfortable. Just in case you approve.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Thank you. Gosh.
How's that make you feel hearing that right now? I'm moved already.
Terry, I was thinking, we talk about intention, and that was always going to be the first song on the record because it was the first song that we wrote. And it just sounds like a conversation. The whole record is a conversation. And even lyrically, I could not have orchestrated that. I don't think I'm that gifted or talented to say that I had it all crafted in a certain kind of way. But I will say I'm so grateful to how it flowed and how it came together and how we allowed the process to happen. So to answer your question, when I hear that, I just keep thinking, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. It's everything that I thought I wanted. It's you can pack so much vulnerability in those first few lines and you're kind of ready for this ride. What are we talking about? And so there's a lot of pride when I hear it. Mm-hmm. I don't know, a lot of pride and truth. Even when I heard my voice, I'm just like, I've been singing for many, many years, but you're trying to find your voice. And now when I hear this record, it really pierces me in a different way.
Mm. Good choice of words.
Mm.
Yeah, it pierces me and pierced me when I listened to the record and also had the privilege and joy of getting to watch you perform the album recently live in a very intimate setting in Los Angeles, and it was very moving and very exhilarating and very uplifting.
I was so happy you were there.
Thanks.
I was so happy you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe, like you said, I think the audience is part of the experience. Mm-hmm. And whoever's there, but specifically different people coming together who are different, with different hearts and different journeys. So you being there was very specific and added so much to it. Personally, I know that. Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to read a quote of yours that I think also sets the intention of this conversation.
Okay.
And gives a backstory of what we are going to be spending the hour talking about. In your words, my first goodbye was to the man I allowed myself to stay to make everyone happy. Now that he's gone, I can say hello to true relationships and honest intentions, not just for everyone that I love, but for me, who I'm learning to love first. It will only hurt for a moment. Promise the feel good outweighs the grief.
Yeah. I think the quote was coming from a place of sometimes we have to say goodbye to welcome new, better things. And most people, when you say goodbye, it doesn't have a connotation that is a, positive or, that's going to be something that's going to be, I don't know, healthy, good, going in a good direction. You think that's a closing thing when you say goodbye. Mm-hmm. And I realized that once I said goodbye, and it sounds really dramatic. I said goodbye to myself. Well, I was being a certain person. I was moving through the world to accommodate just people. And I've grown to be okay with it. It wasn't a burden. I was just like, oh, well, everyone seems to love this guy, So I'll just continue to be, and then I started to do that healing work inside and asking those questions. And I'm saying, is it important for everyone to love me? Every single person to be happy with everything I do for a certain person? Or is it okay? Is it important for me to love myself and through that find the people who are willing to love that person? And I started to really want to be on that journey, not in a negative way to kind of distance myself from anybody or make people, go away, but just in an effort to say, like you said at the top, that we only have this one life to live. I just got weary. And I go, wow, I got more confident in who I really am. And I said, I really want to try them out. I just want to see, I want to see. And, the beautiful thing is that I don't think I've lost anything by saying goodbye to that energy or that person that was so putting Terry first or people first, my parents or my family.
Right.
But yeah, and it seems contrary to what we all have learned about putting others first. And I do believe there is sacrificial things that we do. We serve others. I'm not saying it's a selfish thing that I'm advocating, but I'm saying, God, when you love yourself first, then there's more of you to give others, I think, in a truer sense, because there's no manipulation. Mm-hmm. There's no I'm doing this for that or for that person, or I hope this person will, get that. It's like, no, this is really, I love myself, I honor myself, and so I can honor you. And so, yeah, I had to say goodbye, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah. It's a practice. One of the things that I was thinking about in watching you perform your album live and also in listening to the album is that the man who you were served you well, brought you to this point, brought you your beautiful family, your credits and experiences and all those things. So, I find that there are some things that formed who I was when I was young, a child, that served me to get through whatever those struggles were, to allow me to get to a place where I can say, okay, that no longer serves me.
I agree.
And now, and it wasn't a bad thing that I'm this way, that I have this default or this point of view. I might not need to have that point of view right now. Mm-hmm. And so I've had my own moments of experiences like that. Maybe in smaller, more subtle doses where you're having this huge album, an awakening that celebrates the challenges of that. Let's talk about, let's just get this out of the way because I think it provides interesting context, but it's also something to be proud of. Your credits. You're a singer-songwriter, a recording artist, an actor, a motivational speaker, author, and producer, with credits from the Broadway stage, Simba and Disney's The Lion King and Seaweed and Hairspray, to television's Curb Your Enthusiasm, American Idol, The Voice, and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. You've also had the great opportunity to perform at the Amundsen Theater and the Secret Garden, the Pantages and Lion King and Hairspray, and the Hollywood Bowl and Kinky Boots. This is just a short overview of many, many credits. You're best remembered for your critically acclaimed portrayal of Eddie Kendricks in the Emmy Award-winning NBC miniseries, The Temptations. You were great in that. I really enjoyed it. Two-time NAACP Image Award nominee for Best Supporting Actor and an Ovation nominee for Best Featured Actor. You've sung with world-class artists Stevie Wonder, David Foster, Phil Collins, One Republic, and Smokey Robinson. Co-creator and star of The Soul of Broadway, which is your reimagining classic Broadway favorites. And you're an author again. You wrote a book called Something Good. Am I pronouncing it right?
Something Good on the Table.
Something Good on the Table is available on Amazon.com. But the beauty of the way that it's spelled is the letters God are capitalized out of the word good. So that's a lot of accomplishment. I mean, you've worked hard. You've earned all of those credits. Are you surprised, hearing it read back to you like many of our guests, or do you feel proud, or all of the above?
Yeah, I'm always not shocked. It always humbles me, I think, because Terry, if I were to be honest, a lot of things that you have said or read about me were not dreams that I had as a child, So, I had some dreams and some things that I wanted to accomplish, and I still have many. But when I hear you read all these diverse things that I've, been blessed to do, or fortunate to do, I'm very humbled by it, because it was never really like a plan. Like, I really want to do all these different things. And so I'm really like, wow. And it's something to do. I always tell people, not necessarily take a look at your resume, but take stock of the things that you've done, because there's discontent can really come in when you're trying to achieve something that you haven't achieved yet. And you could dismiss, all the beautiful experiences that you've had. It's easy to do that when you're like, I haven't done this, So when I hear those things, yes, I have my dreams that I still want to accomplish, but it just makes me go, wow. If I were to leave this earth today, there's so much gratefulness of the things that I've gotten to achieve. And like you said, it's not just for achievement's sake. Those were milestones in making this man.
Yeah. Those, each and every one of those experiences, and the ones that we haven't talked about it, or the ones that you didn't get, all are part of the tapestry of forming the man that you are today.
That's the story. Yes.
I want to do a deep dive lyric breakdown on some of your songs today. So
sure.
Because the lyrics it's a lyric driven song, but the music is captivating, and it's really juicy and vibey and enjoyable on its own merit as well. And it's married perfectly. Uncomfortable, which we played a little bit of. There's a couple of lines, self-appointed, the anointed one. I never had permission to feel, so I was always trying to heal because it was easier to be happy. Instead of taking control, I now accept, I don't know, and it's okay to be uncomfortable. Can you elaborate on the song?
Yeah, well, the song is, who likes to be uncomfortable? It's who no one does. We avoid. Right. We tend to lean to comfort, But the song is saying that whatever state that we're in, it's okay. And I found that in my life, I always was trying to rush feelings. I would rush my friends' feelings or my family. I want everybody to be happy. Right. So don't be uncomfortable. Don't be sad. Don't be hurt. Don't exist in any kind of dark pain. Let's just get to the positive. And what I learned was diving deep in being uncomfortable or saying right now I'm not okay. Didn't mean that I wasn't going to be okay. Didn't mean that I couldn't be optimistic and think the sun is going to come out tomorrow. It just means like right now, I'm not okay. I'm uncomfortable. And I feel like that's I don't want to say trigger. That's not the right word, but it's a signal or something to let me know that I may need to dig deeper to find something. And finding something is healing for me. So, I was always trying to fix people. And so the beginning of the song says, I walked in the room and I saw you. You were hurting, you know what I mean? And I thought it was a mission from God on high to come in and actually be God, you know what I mean? Like, he's busy,
Yeah.
I'm one of his agents, and I'm going to come in and say everything he would say, do everything he would say, and you're going to feel good in 15 minutes. We're going to wrap this thing up, you know?
Which was, you were being led by compassion and basically a connection with people and seeing things perhaps other people might not be seeing because of your artist training. But like you said, you thought you were being an angel, like helping everybody and to get them to feel better.
And like you said, none of it was bad.
Right.
I think I probably accomplished a lot of that. I didn't realize, though, how much I was robbing people. If I want you to feel better in 15 minutes and you really need to take a day or two or three or four, the real compassionate thing is for me to sit with you, be with you through that uncomfortable moment and tell you that it's going to be all right. Investigate that with you, as opposed to, because that made me uncomfortable. Really, the song is has a double meaning. It's like I was uncomfortable with what was going on, and you made me uncomfortable if you weren't happy, you know? And then I thought maybe I failed. If I couldn't get you to do this or be this or smile or snap out of it in some kind of antidote that I would give you, I would go, wow, so there was a need. There was an unhealthy need that me being someone's savior, I would look for that because that would give me a pat on the back. And so I discovered some of that. There's a positive side to everything, and sometimes there's a negative side to things. And you're not aware of it because it's working and it's helping someone. But the negative side was that I think I needed it. I needed Terry to go, Terron, thank you for saving me, or thank you for what you said, right?
Lifting me.
And so there was an unconscious need to find people who were hurting to get that, to get that response, right? So I had to take a look at that, I think, because in my life right now, there's certain things that I just won't touch. I'll have a more discernment about someone. I can listen, but I might not be quick to fix. It's easier for me to be in that uncomfortable moments with people now. And then to kind of hear from God, hey, do you need me to do anything, instead of taking the reins so quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me hearing you say that, because what's still the same is you're still leading with love. The intention's still the same. It's being fueled by something different.
Absolutely.
The vehicle is different.
Yeah. And you talk about empathy. You can't really empathize. Like if you're taking a journey with someone and you haven't taken the journey first, you just, you're like, oh, you try to empathize. You walk in with that person. You've experienced some sort of pain that you can attribute to connecting with. But until I started to feel uncomfortable and I started to be okay with that, then I'm like, I think I can help people even in a greater way because I understand what that feels like. And so there's when we dive deeper and dig deeper, there's a deeper well for that compassion. And compassion is a beautiful thing, but I've also had people with compassion that actually hurts. Well-meaning family members and friends with compassion, but they haven't dug deep enough. So the surface of the compassion, and it's so well-meaning, it hurts because you're like, no, you don't really understand my family, what I'm going through, my pain. And you're saying these quotes or these scriptures or these things because you love me, but you don't have an empathy. You don't have a deeper understanding that you might not say that to a person right now in this moment, and that's neither good or bad. That's not a judgment. That's just something that I'm learning, that I go, wow, I got it wrong a lot, and I think well-meaning intentions is beautiful, but they still can hurt people. So I wanted to just grow in that. I wanted to grow. I was like, I still want to be your agent, God, but I want to do more. I want to get the assignment from you instead of what's my assignment today? I just would kind of create it.
Let's play another song. This one's called Weightless.
I'm giving up the very things I once believed were grounding me. I've reached my full capacity of needing up the very things I once believed were grounding me. I've reached my full capacity of needing to turn myself to what they think. No.
That was magnificent.
Thank you.
An enemy of gravity. Want to be best friends with the lighter side of me. And that line hit me in a different way, just listening with you instead of without you. But again, I'm giving up the very things I once believed were grounding me. I've reached my full capacity of needing to tie myself to what they think, no longer bound to suffering, releasing what is keeping me from being weightless. Beautiful, powerful.
Man, I want to dive into a little bit of the songwriting process for people as well, because this album, mostly when I write songs, they just come. I just get it. I get it. I'm very inspired. It flows a lot. For this project, we did a lot of pre-writing before we did melodies and production and music. And I hadn't done a lot of that in my past work.
Meaning what? What was the process, the beginning?
Meaning, the producer and I would pick a song. I had a list of 35 titles, right? And I just would go to the session and say, what hit you? And we would just pick, weightless was the word, right? Yeah. And we would write stream of consciousness. I would write. What you're hearing lyrically is a lot of my just complete thoughts, as opposed to I'm writing a song today, what needs to fit. And I hadn't done that in a while. And so there's a beauty in how we were able to, it's like a meal, fit in a lot of the text before we even started writing melodies and into what you're hearing. It just was a different process, and it allowed more depth, I think, than when you're just trying to rhyme a word or put thoughts together and make something. They're actually real feelings. I know exactly where I was or who I'm talking about, because me and the producer, we would just write and talk. So it becomes more conversational like that. So that's what you're hearing a lot in the record. It's just a whole stream of consciousness, and very poetic and interesting about darkness, because I didn't want to touch on dark things. My music is very uplifting, optimistic. Yeah, we're gonna make it, And this record, and I thought about that, I was like, "Ooh, God, are people gonna want to listen to this, darkness?" But ironically, when I hear it, there's so much light because of what I've gone through, that me as the person sharing it is more like, hey guys, you're going to make it. I've been through these dark places. I've been through these dark corners. I've dug deep, and it's going to be okay. And that's what has always been the essence of me as an artist. And so what you said earlier about, I'm still in there. He's still there. He still was used. It's just in a different dynamic way now. So it's powerful.
Oftentimes, songwriters, when they collaborate, bring their notebooks of melodies and lyric ideas and phrases and things like that. And there's something beautifully and elegantly simple and unique about you walking in with 30 words or phrases and presenting that list to each of your co-writers and saying, which one do you want to write?
Yeah, I knew the story was in every phrase or every word. I knew I could find something. So that pre-work, like you said, was really probably, bringing my journal, bringing my thoughts, but no melodies, no words. I wasn't leaning towards this. And the 10 songs on the record are actually the 10 songs that me and each producer or songwriter, co-songwriter just picked, and then they fit so perfectly. Yeah. So there is a letting go with that process that I've learned. I've always tried to trust that, but man, this was really special.
Do you mind sharing a couple of names of the people who you collaborated with, your producer and co-writers?
Absolutely. And there's some of my longtime collaborators. I think in this process of safety, some of this stuff was my therapy. So I really wanted to not just find who's amazing, but who I could trust, Sylvia McCullough, she's like a sister to me. She produced more than half of the record, helped me kind of shape that. She's like a sister. Sylvia McCullough. Ry Randa has been on every album that I've ever produced. He produced and co-wrote on Weightless. And then my good buddy Daniel Kalisher. he wrote the song for my son on the album. So these are longtime collaborators, friends, people who actually have seen me from the man that I was into this person. So they can speak to that. And there's just a trust that I think I needed for this. Not just to get the lyrics out, but even you talk about production and music. Everything has to come in concert. And you know that as a producer, it's not just the lyrics, it's not just the voice. How are we telling the story? What instrument do we need? And I think that meticulous intention wasn't just on my part. With every songwriter and producer, I think they got that. Everybody wanted to serve this whole thing, and it brings me to tears to think about the process of people that love me enough to make it a project of their own, not just, oh, it's a paid thing to help Terron do this record.
Right.
I think everybody felt a responsibility, and I think that's what you hear, a lot of love.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely comes through in every note and every word, and every sonic, morsel of goodness that's in there supporting the song and serving the song. And I get the feeling from listening to the record, it's very connected. In other words, everybody's serving the artist, Terron Brooks, you. Everybody's serving the song that they're co-writing. But everybody's also serving the album and the intention of joining you on your walk. And with compassion and I would imagine challenging each other in the writing sessions and asking good questions or inserting their version of the same experience.
Yes. To rephrase, we rephrased a lot of things because they knew that I wanted to go deep.
Yeah.
And so they didn't just go, that was good. They didn't settle for that was good. Those questions, those observations, the little nudges, because I gave them permission to do it. I'll be honest, Terry, my wife will tell you, I'm pretty stubborn. I don't think I don't like criticism, but because I pretty much know what I want to do, the criticism can fall flat because not that I'm not open to it, but I'm so, no, this is how it goes.
It doesn't always land, right?
Yeah, and so now I'm trying to evolve to say, I still have the final decision, but I can listen, and there could be a morsel of something that could change my mind or even push me further to my resolve, but I don't have to shut it out, So there was very, very many moments where the producer and my friends would say, yeah, you're saying that. What else?
Yeah. I love being challenged like that, especially in co-writing collaborations where you come up with a great melody, an amazing melody, a great lyric. And then, you all say, well, okay, that's really good. It's really good. We're not going to lose it. How else could we say that? How else could the melody go? Is there a better chord? Yeah. And, I'm so grateful that my early songwriting collaborators showed me the thrill of that kind of honest challenging of each other. So that you could safely go, you can always go back to the original idea, or that chorus idea could become the bridge.
Absolutely.
Or become the beginning, the seed for another song.
Yeah. Another thing too, when you're working with people that you've always worked with, there were times where I was like, Sylvia, just write the bridge. We became an extension of it. Yeah. And there was no ownership of I did this or you did this. I would just trust, the people that I were working with. And I would say, of course, if it didn't resonate, I could write something different. But I might just say, hey, no, I did the first verse. What do you hear on the, it's just, you want to come to an amen. That's how I know when the song is finished. Yeah. There's an amen. Amen. Yes. Do you feel an amen? If you can't say amen, we got to keep working. There's beauty in that collaboration, and I didn't find that till late. I loved every song to say written by Terron Brooks. I was like, I did it. You know what I mean? I'm Babyface. Right. You see that one name. And now that's not even a thing. I just want more people, more eyes on it, more hearts on it. Yeah.
Let's listen to a song called You Didn't Know.
You can't heal what you won't feel. It has to be a big blow sometimes to reveal. But you can cry without the tears, no matter how hard that you try to conceal. Until life hits you, you don't know. You have to be broken to know what's inside. And when you are opened, the pain can't hide. The night kept you frozen, you couldn't be the light. In the valley you'll find the depth of your soul and what you didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Until life hits you, you don't know.
No. This is probably the centerpiece of the album. Like there's a core. This song is, for me, there's a word called denial. And I think denial for me, for some people, it's denial is like, you know something, but you don't want to know something. So you're in denial. Like, you know, I don't want to know it. I'm denying the feelings. For me, a lot of the things I just didn't know. So the denial wasn't, I know, but I don't want to address it. The denial was, I didn't go deeper. I didn't want to know. So once I went to my therapy, I gave myself permission to kind of find out. Because in essence, I was fine. I don't need to know, you know, but some people are denying something that they know, a traumatic thing that happened, and they just don't want to dive into it. I didn't really feel that was the case. I just thought, let's just move on, you know? So there's an adage, you know, what you don't know can hurt you. I think that's what they say. What you don't know can't hurt you. What you don't know can't hurt you, right, Terry? That's what it is.
Yes.
And I've always said in my growing, that's not true, because what you don't know can hurt you.
Right.
You know, what you don't know can hurt others. You know, if I'm married or with my kids or family or I'm in the world, something that I don't know about myself, a pain, can actually hurt someone, you know? And so we might not want to know it. So this song is kind of the heart of me going, I want to know as much as I can. If that means being uncomfortable, if that means not feeling great for a little while, if that means being angry, if that means, you know, sitting in some grief, I kind of want to know, because then I can be open, you know. And you played a lyric, you couldn't be the light. And we were talking about collaborations and nudging. Yeah. I wrote initially, you couldn't see the light.
Yeah.
And my friend Rye was like, no, you couldn't be it. And so that a word like that was like, wow, that's true. Everything that I was trying, I couldn't even be the light instead of just see the light. So that was a prime example of something like changing like that. Yeah.
So if this is not personal, what hit you? I mean, was there a moment, a one final thing? Is it an accumulation of life experiences, or did something happen that tipped the scale to you feeling like there might be a better way to go through life?
I think, my son has autism. Mm-hmm. My son was diagnosed with autism at 9 years old. So for 9 years, we didn't know he had autism. And I think that was the biggest hit for me, because of what we had to go through with the anxiety and the depression and the understanding of something that could be typical to something that was going to be expansive and every day in the moment. And my life up until that moment, I could curate it and make it whatever I wanted to be in a certain box. And so I was safe. Mm-hmm. So what hit me was this left field curveball was like, I'm not safe anymore. All these emotions that I had suppressed inside about my childhood because my son was so young and I could see myself in his eyes, right? He demanded, the hit was a demand and a need for change so I could be the father, the husband, and the man that I needed to be. It was a demand. And so the hit at that time, I'm saying that there were many hits.
Yeah, of course.
That was the main, thing that said, I can't go on like this anymore. My son is a truth teller. He can't help it. That's just the way that he's wired.
Right.
He'll read you like a book, So if I were trying to hide, I wouldn't be able to, which is a beautiful thing. And so I ended up saying, let me reframe my life so I don't have to hide anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And your son is thriving.
Yeah, he is.
Both of your kids are beautiful human beings.
Yeah. And they have their own
reflection of you and your wife.
Oh, I appreciate that, Terry. I'm glad that I've learned what I've learned, though, because if I did not, I would try to control that.
Sure. Yeah.
My life, I feel like my dad in particular, God bless him, I love him. You know what I mean? There was a control, because there was maybe like, if my son or my daughters don't do everything that I think they should do, it's a reflection on me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I've kind of reversed the curse, with my children. I don't need them to reflect me. I need them to shine in the whatever they have been created as, and find their own journey to become who they are. And in turn, what happens is they reflect on me. And then I start growing because I can learn from them as well, as opposed to I hope that some good things, reflect, mirror, influence them. Sure. But it's more of a hands-off approach, I think, and then you find that, wow, we're all learning. I'm the daddy, I'm supposed to be the teacher, but I can tell you right now, both of my kids have taught me, volumes about life, living, joy, acceptance, and so I'm happy that I've allowed that to be a little bit different in my home as opposed to how I was raised,
It's like martial arts training where the student becomes the teacher, the student becomes the master. And it's reciprocal. It's a continuing exchange.
Yeah.
Which is, you have to respect your sensei. However, one of the first things that they do when you're training in the medical world, my cousin was a doctor and he said it was the same with him. He was also a martial artist. But you watch one, do one, teach one. Mm-hmm. That's how you learn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you very quickly, even as a beginner, become a teacher. They make you show somebody else who knows less than you do how to do what they just showed you the day before. Yes. So it's no surprise to hear that your son has become one of your biggest teachers, and your daughter, and why wouldn't you want to surround yourself with people who you can learn from as well as guide them? That, as a matter of fact, as a parent, that must be such an amazing feeling to have this little baby, son and your daughter who you have helped form and guide. And then they are now at various points of their life imparting pearls of wisdom to you that are game changers in their actions or in their words.
I think that you have to cultivate that. You talk about like a tree or a plant that's growing, and it starts with the seed, Mm-hmm. And so it's like me and my wife, what seeds are we what seeds are we beginning with our children? What foundations are we telling them? What ideologies or thoughts are we saying that permission? That's one of the songs. I didn't feel like I had permission to feel. I was just told, you feel like this, And so we try to cultivate, first of all, an honest. We want you to be here, you know what I mean, in this journey. Maybe as parents, we have an expectation that we hope that you be here. But right now at 18 years old or at 14 years old, you're not there yet, So our expectations and our hope, I'm 50, Terry. So I'm saying some of these things I'm just getting to, So I just want to make my hope that they get there eventually not definitive of a time. I don't want them to go so long in pain or so long in an ignorant space where they don't know things, but I'm more optimistic of the journey than I am the day that they need to show me that they got it,
Yeah.
So in that freedom, we can find that beautiful, you talk about, what do they talk about? Like a vase that was cracked or broken, right? You've heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know, and you put it back together in the pieces, and, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Japanese art, which I forget the name as well, but also Leonard Cohen talks about it. The cracks are where the light, allows the light to shine through, to come through.
That's perfectly,
I just did, but yeah.
Perfectly stated in my life. But for me, I didn't want any cracks. I was making sure I was no cracks, Terron, no cracks. We got white on, we're perfect, no cracks, And I was robbing myself and others. Even I was robbing others of now I don't care how cracky I look. But I'm fine. The feedback that I'm receiving, and not that that's the impetus for me to do anything, but the feedback that I'm getting now through the music or just the man that I'm trying to be every day is that, wow, through your cracks, through your flaws, through your uncertainties or, messiness or whatever, people are being able to see themselves.
Right.
And then also feel seen themselves, because we all have cracks.
Right. And sounds like you've been learning to redefine perfection.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's such a big thing in my household, in my whole life. There's a difference between perfection and excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so blurry for me sometimes. I wanted to be excellent, but then there was a perfect part too that I felt. I think when I was younger, having a voice, people magnified the voice in my life. You sing so well. You sing so well. It was almost the first thing that people would say at 13, 14, 15, 16, And you would think that would be could be a positive motivator thing. Like, oh, I have this voice. For me, I always struggled with, is that it? And that's what people are saying. That's the thing I keep hearing, is that you sing so well. You're so gifted. Sing us a song, Terron, So I became like, oh, is that why people love me? Do I need to be that perfect voice, for people to give me an accolade or say, you're a good person, you're fine. And what would happen, Terry, if I didn't have that voice? A couple years ago, I almost had to have surgery. I had a polyp on my vocal cord. And I went through that process because I did not have the surgery. And I had to say, wow, if I do not sing again, if I'm not the golden voice again,
and
who am I?
Right.
What do I have to offer? And what I found, which is probably another hit, you say, I found I was getting excited when I went to the Creator and God and had a conversation with him. And I was like, well, you gave me this voice for whatever purpose. So if I can't use the voice in the way that you gave me, I am confident that you have another plan. And it would still be great. Will it be through my speaking? Will I have another voice, a weathered voice, And I started to believe that the voice, however it was going to come out and be, was still going to be powerful, and maybe even more powerful without it being perfect, And so fortunately for me, I didn't have the surgery. I got my voice back, but I think that was a moment for me to say, hey, I'm going to take all the expectations from everybody else. I'm going to, from childhood, what everybody expects, and I'm going to sit with that and say, who am I without this? And I think I came out, I think also vocally, ironically, it's even better now.
Yeah.
With the understanding that I could lose it, and also with the understanding that it isn't me, it's just a vehicle, Yeah.
That's what I hear when I listen to you sing now. Let's share another song.
Okay.
This one is called What Love Looks Like to Me.
Until you forgive, do it for yourself. You will regret what's stolen. May not forget what you can't accept, so you can live in this moment. 'Cause what's underneath colors what we see. And that's just what love looks like to me. And that's just what love looks like to me. Sometimes it burns, cuts like a knife, rips out your heart before changing your life. That's just what love looks like to me. Oh, what it looks like, what it looks like, what it looks like.
Exquisite.
Mm.
One of the things that's exquisite about that song is that moment after you sing a line and that the guitar ambience just carries over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you just get to luxuriate in that sonic moment.
Mm-hmm.
Great choices. You know, writing wise, composing, lyrically, melodically, harmonically, production wise, and your vocal approach, the background vocals. I mean, like as a friend, as a fellow songwriter and producer, it's just every time I listen, something else touches me about what I'm hearing and experiencing.
Yeah, there's how do you make things simple when there's a well of feelings and emotion? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm always chasing. For me, you know, I know there's some very gifted songwriters and singers and producers and writers that really say things you've never heard before and craft. I'm always trying to get to a simple way to say something that packs so much underneath, you know? And that's kind of what one of the lyrics says, what's underneath colors what we see.
Right.
And I really believe that. I believe if I don't dig deep enough, then I'm almost looking with one hand on my eye. And so I could see stuff and I go, oh, that's what it, but I don't see the full picture to me, right? So whatever I'm believing or professing or saying or witnessing, it's still, it's not clear. The deeper I go, you know, I feel like the hand moves, you know, I start to see different colors because it's truer, you know, and so that's a little bit about what the song means in relation to love and letting people love you the way that they can, and forgiveness that doesn't, you're doing it for yourself. We're taught to forgive others for them necessarily, or they need to be forgiven. And I believe there's a part of that. But sometimes forgiveness is for you to be able to move on as well, you know, and you don't need permission from another person to forgive, you know. And so that's what I've learned, you know, with my family or any trauma or things that have happened in my life that I wanted to get there. I wanted to usually get there fast. I forgive. It's fine. But then my wife always says, well, what are you sorry for? What are you sorry for? You know what I mean? So in my therapy, I had to go deep and say, what happened to me? Terron, you want to forgive. You're a great person. You forgive everybody. You love everybody. But what are you forgiving? Because there's a cost. There's a weight to that. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to be a saint or a hero to say, oh, I've forgiven the worst sins. That's not the point. But to understand the power of forgiveness of what the impact was is better than just saying, oh, I just forgive everybody. It doesn't matter, you know? And so I wanted to investigate those feelings and say, wow, those were some kind of horrible things that might have happened to me, you know? So the forgiveness is greater. So the love is greater. And that's kind of what I want to tell people, you know, don't be afraid of that.
Do you believe that in addition to forgiveness, speaking, you know, putting to words, verbalizing, putting it out in the world by singing it, writing it, talking about it
Mhm.
is also part of the release from trauma.
Yeah, I 100% Terry, because I think you're not hiding anymore.
Yeah.
And then also in my need to protect others or make people happy, there is a dishonoring sometimes of yourself. I would never want to hurt my family or friends or anybody that I love, intentionally by anything that I would say. But at a certain point, my truth, what I say about what happened or my experience is there's so much freedom in being able to tell that truth.
Mm-hmm.
Not so I can protect others, but to heal myself and say, this happened. This is my recollection of what happens. Now, granted, the other people could have their recollection of what happened as well, and they have every right to stand on their truth of agreeing or disagreeing of what they saw. I think in my controlling era, I would want to control what that looks like, because I felt like I was controlled, and if I didn't heal that, I would be that parent to control Andrew and Taylor and my wife. I make sure that their responses are controlled, and that is not that my truth does not have to be their truth. They need to tell their truth. And so you're right. I think it's one thing to feel it, but now this record is really me saying, this happened. This is how I felt. And in release of that, I can be weightless.
Yes.
I can move on. I'm not trapped by some secret or something hidden that I don't know about. So yeah, it feels really, really free to be able to do that. And, it could be uncomfortable for people to hear, oh, wow, but I'm just leading with that truth and honesty these days. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to, before I get to my closing questions, and we'll end the show with another one of your songs that I love, Honest. But I want to talk about a couple of other fun things about you, or really interesting things about you that I find. And you can choose any of these three to talk about, or all three. But one is that I know that you love desserts, that you just absolutely love chocolate cake, and it's part of when you're touring and traveling. It's part of your agenda and journey. And man, my maybe favorite dessert is flourless chocolate cake. So
yes.
Brother. So, and I'll walk that journey with you. We can talk about that. But also that I think it's funny that this part isn't funny. You used to be really deathly afraid of dogs until you grew up. But I think it's funny that you can't stand cats, and that you're not afraid to admit it. I mean, there's no secret about it. Yeah, I just don't like it. Yeah, I find that humorous. But there's also a really cool story about when you and your wife had your first date.
Yes.
And this kind of led to, a story about your daughter, who, of course, it was not even, it was the first date. So any of those three things, or all three, can you?
I'll briefly talk about all of them. I believe your wife was there for one of the stories, actually. But yeah, the cake thing is interesting. I when we perform, I always yes, we get paid to perform, but I always want to be like, okay, if I perform well, I get a treat. I get some kind, what's the after thing? What are we doing? It's usually some kind of dessert. And so I would post these things about me eating these desserts real time all over the world or whatever. Chocolate cake is my favorite, but then I just started I think I am a foodie. I think it's just not cake. It's just, if it's good food, I'm like, wow. And on social media, I find that sometimes people could care less about my singing, my stories, my inspiration. But when I start eating cake or food, they're tuned in, and so there's just kind of life can be fun, a fun thing of, exploration, of something as simple as a cake or a dessert or something that you love, And I always laugh because people always say, well, be careful, don't get too much sugar. It's like those restraints on it. And I laugh. Of course, I can't have 50 cakes and, it's not healthy for you. But I always joke, and this could be controversial, that I was like, when you go to my funeral and you see the smile on my face, just know that I had the best cake, the best cakes, the best desserts. Life is to be lived in some kind of way. And, and we I don't indulge a lot, but sometimes I put my foot down and said, no, I'm going to have this cake. I'll work out. I'll do all the things I need to do, but I'm going to have this experience because it tastes good and I love it, you know? And yeah, the cat dog thing is just, I think more that's just goes to fear. And I didn't really know that dogs or animals can sense your fear.
Yeah.
And so once I was afraid of dogs or what they were going to do to me, it was an energy.
It scared them. Yeah, they would mirror your emotion.
Yeah. So whether they wanted to play or get me out of it or smelled something, it created an energy that instead of me relaxing, this is such a analogy for life or a metaphor, you know, me relaxing, me being peaceful, going, okay, that's a huge dog, but let me pet it. You know what I mean? Me bringing down my walls or my fear, it reciprocated in that animal can. And even if the animal's going crazy, I don't have to go crazy. Mm-hmm. And I found out in 5 minutes that animal's not even paying me any attention, you know.
He was barking at the cat that he hates too.
I don't know, but people with friends would have to put their dogs out. They're like, Terron's coming over, we can't have the dog in. My grandmother was like, you know, and I guess in another way, in another metaphor, is that I got tired of that. Yeah. I got tired of that. I was like, well, you know, and still there's a hesitation now from childhood. I still have moments, but the cat thing is just more intuitively, I think, and people are going to throw stones at me, that cats are smart. And they have a certain energy or air to them that, you know, doesn't vibe with me because they, you know, so I always just joke that I can read cats. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm sure there's some great cats out there, but, and lastly, the story about my wife. Yeah, I was working at the El Capitan Theater here in Hollywood. And I was in a show. My best friend was in a show with my wife. And long story short, my best friend was like, I have someone for you. I think you would really love this person. And I'm like, who is she? And she pointed her out. And I was like, well, she's not my type. You know what I mean? And I think my friend Camila bet me. She like a bet or dare or something. Just do it. And so literally I asked her, do you want to go on this date? And it was just kind of like an obligatory thing we did. And Terry, we went to this date. My car broke down the date of the date, so she had to drive. You know, we went to Hard Rock Cafe. And I always say, when someone doesn't care that you like them more. You're like, because they're so self-assured. I was like, wait a minute. She's loves herself, and she, you know, so she was very intriguing. And I think I was wrapped in the first 3 minutes, just wrapped in it. We talked for 3 hours. And the story is at the end of 3 hours, I said, I've already named my daughter. And she's like, I have too. And we were just laughing. And I said, okay, on the count of 3, you say your name, I'll say my name. We counted to 3 and we both said the name Taylor. Wow. And so we were like, right there. Okay. Okay. And then the next day I bought her a gift, a little stuffed animal Pegasus doll, because it was Hercules. And on the back of a dollar bill that the cashier gave me in blue marker was the name Taylor. We have that here at home.
That's incredible.
Incredible. And so we get married. We know we want 2 kids. Taylor could be a boy or a girl, but we said it's a girl. We only want 2 kids. Andrew was born first, which was a surprise. We didn't find out the gender. And then we were pregnant again. Doctor, what are we having? And she said we were having a girl. And so Taylor's 14 in high school now. And so I always tell that story is just like that always was like a beautiful, ooh, what's happening, you know, kind of seal in we have many, many stories like that. But, and so I wrote a song for Taylor called Tailor Made, you know, just like you're tailor made for us. And you were thought of before I even fell in love, you know? And so it's beautiful to know that. I feel that same way about God and my spirituality, that God thought of, before I was on earth, God thought about me. He even knew my name, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I love that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the Hercules show that you
Hercules show, yeah.
On Hollywood.
Melanie was in it. Yep.
I was at that show in the
audience
because Amy Keys was in the show.
Yep.
Too.
Amy Keys, Kenna Ramsey.
But I didn't know you or man, I didn't even know Melanie back then, my wife.
Wow.
But I remember seeing the show. I loved it. I was up in the balcony.
Yeah, Camila, Renee Goldsberry.
Yeah.
Elise Goldsberry was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Superstars were in it. And my wife, she was a character. She was a character actor. She's Minnie, Mickey, Chip and Dale, and in that show is Pain and Panic, were the little miniature animals, I guess, I don't whatever. So my wife's 5'2", so I always say that always too. You know what I mean? When you're talking about, your type or judging anything, it was a great wake up call for me never to do that again. Right.
Right.
Because she's definitely my type, definitely my heart type.
I want to ask you the 3 closing questions I ask each of my guests, and then I'll give you last thoughts. And you could set up the song Honest as well, and let everybody know what it's about. And we'll close the show with a little piece of music. The first question is, since this show's called Making It, what does making it mean to you both personally and professionally?
Well, that's pretty easy for me because I've made it and lost it so much. And that bar and that word has changed so much. And I decided that I didn't want it to change. I didn't want making it to be conditional to something, a job or an experience. And so making it to me is peace. When I'm in a really peaceful state and content, and that doesn't mean that everything is working perfectly or I have everything that I need, but I always try to find peace. And if I can find that, that's to me greater than success, or I would say success is peace, being able to sleep at night, just believing that my needs are going to be met, that I have everything that I need, that I'm where I'm meant to be right now. I'm always searching for that place to be. So making it to me is, I have a beautiful family. I'm rich. My wallet might not be, but I know that I'm rich with family and friends and love, and and so I start to appreciate those things and go, that's making it. That's we do what we love to do, right? We know so many people who don't have the luxury to do what they want to do or love to do. It doesn't matter how famous they are, or the accomplishment or the Grammys. Just the fact that I get up every morning and I can go sing, I can go write, I can have conversations with beautiful people. That's my life. I've made it.
Can you share 3 tips for success that have driven your career?
3 tips. You can't be yourself if you don't know yourself. So you need to find yourself so you can be yourself. And when you be yourself, every good thing will come to that person. I believe that everybody is a star. But if you don't know who you are, if you haven't found who you are, you're trying to emulate someone else who is a star and go on that journey and say, well, that works. And success might elude you. You might be able to achieve certain things because I'm influenced by good people. But no, your star is because you're so authentically yourself that the world needs you to be that. And if you don't know what that is, it's difficult to move through the world. So my advice is always to young people or anybody, hey, find out who you are, love yourself, be more of who you are every day. And that's what you're going to attract. The world needs that difference, that nugget, that gem. So that's one of the things of success. Another thing is don't compare yourself to others. And also try not to make what you do who you are. I enjoy what I do. I love my job, but that's not me. You know what I mean? It's not the first thing that I would say that I am. All of the great things you read about me. I'm a husband and I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a brother. Those things are more important to me than the doing of anything successful. So I try to say people are missing a little bit of life if all of their waking moments they're thinking about the doing, what they've done. Who are you?
Thank you for saying that, because it kind of sums up the intention of this conversation, which was to really reveal who you are, not what you are. Mm-hmm. Not your accomplishments, but how they've molded you and led you to the man that you are today.
Yeah.
And the people that, I feel the same. Every experience, every credit has helped shape who I am, hopefully to be a better person, a better man, a better person.
Yeah. every open door, every collaboration, Terry, even today, our collaboration is permission to explore more of who you are. So I can look at jobs or experiences, or I can look at my resume, but to me, they were just open opportunities for me to explore with people, with like-minded people, to help me inform, make decisions on who I was going to be. Was I going to do that, or was I not going to do that? Was I going to find confidence in going with the crowd or making my own decisions? And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Life is a beautiful journey, and we all have different experiences that bring us to a place of, I think, reckoning of who we are, you know? And like you said, sometimes it's the success and sometimes it's the losses, you know what I mean? I used to just want to win a Grammy. That's it. Just want to, that would mean that I was everything. And, and now, I think it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, but it in no way informs my success, or I mean, even my thoughts right now. For the album that you just played, you couldn't tell me that this wasn't just gold, a Grammy worthy record, that I may never receive the plaque, or the accolades, but I inform it in a different way now. And I'm happy. I think that it took me a long time to receive and understand that.
At this point of your life, with everything that you know to be true, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, yeah, you're cool. You're cool. Dear younger self, you're so cool. You used to wear suits and ties to school, and and people laughed at you, but you're different. Your quirkiness, you're relaxed. You're cool. And there's a book called from Mel Robbins. The let them theory. I don't know if you've heard about it. I would give that gift to my younger self. Let them not like you. Let them disagree. Let them be disappointed in you. Let them be upset with you. Let them even exalt you. Let them tell you you sound good and sing. Let them be. You don't have to control that. And then when you let them, you let you. I let myself have choices. So I think. And lastly, Terry. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. The mistakes will inform you, grow you, shape you. And it's better to make tinier mistakes along the way that inform something that you won't make a big mistake in your life further along, than to withhold yourself and keep you to some standard that you never want to be not perfect. I never want to make a mistake. And then when that big thing happens, you can't recover, So I would say, younger Terron, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, buckle in, and be okay. It's okay.
Well said. Any closing thoughts?
No, just in relation to honest, the last song we might play is just, honor yourself with being honest. Tell your story. Everybody has a story to tell. I would encourage anybody to tell the truth about that. And, we like to, when we're explaining ourselves, we say the highlights of what's great, and I would say it's okay to put in the whole pie of some experiences of who you are and what got you to be you, and being honest that it wasn't always, rainbows and sunshine is okay, because I think in telling the truth, it makes the celebration, it makes the ending, the overcoming, the dream, the success sweeter, because people know more about honestly what happens and what's going on in your life. And so I think that's a beauty that we're not giving to people when we just tell people a little bit of the story. So open yourself up and tell your truth. You deserve it.
Terron Brooks, thank you for spending the hour with me. It's been a joy.
Terry, this has been a brilliant hour or so. I appreciate you so much.
And to all of our listeners, Terron and I thank you as well for sharing your time with us. And we both encourage you to stay safe and stay inspired. And we'll see you all next week. This is called Honest.
Going deeper, create a well, uncover secrets you want to tell, heartaches, mistakes, and honestly, ultimately lead to victory.
Thank you.
Terry, thank you. Whew.